Thanks for tuning in at Brackeys.
Hello everyone and welcome to video number 16 in the How to Make a 2D Platformer course. In today's video we're going to take a small break from all of the coding and upgrade our project to the all-new Unity 5. So if you are fully confident in your ability to do this on your own and fix any errors if there are some, please just skip this video. I just wanted to really show you how to do this because some might find it a bit scary to do themselves. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm also going to talk a bit about what the new features are and how we might want to use them in our project. And we're also going to update the A-Star Pathfinding project folder because that's a bit outdated. So that's what we're going to do today. And again, if this is not interesting to you, just skip ahead onto the next video where I'm sure we're going to be doing more enemy stuff. Cool. So as always, if you have any questions throughout this video, go over to forum.brackeys.com to get your questions answered. So Unity just released Unity 5. They've been hinting at it a lot and there's already a lot of content on it out there. But of course we are going to be using it in this tutorial series, and I might also do a new series specifically covering things in Unity 5. If that's something you want to see, leave a comment in down below, because I really want to know if that's something you're really interested in or if I should put my focus elsewhere. But without further ado, let's first off open up our browser, head over to unity3d.com. You can see that right now they're showing off Unity here, so you can simply hit the Get Unity 5 button or hit Get Unity up here. And Unity is now split up into two editions for normal indies and studios. Then you also have for enterprise education and all that. But for most people, it's going to be split up into two editions. That's the personal edition and the professional edition. And the big change here is that the personal edition will now has all engine features. So stuff that wasn't usable before, such as soft shadows, different rendering techniques, image effects, writing textures, what else was there? There's a lot of stuff. Streaming asset bundles, all kinds of stuff that was before a pro feature is now included in the personal edition. So all that the Unity that really changes about the Unity engine from the personal and the professional edition is stuff like analytics and that kind of external support, some cloud building, the team license, of course. Then you have the theme. And then the customizable splash screen. So, but for most people, personal edition is going to be just fine. So let's hit free download there, and you can download the installer here. I've already done that, and I've already installed Unity. So once you have done that, double-click Unity 5, and it will prompt you with the new opening screen here, where you can either create a new project or open another one. And what I want you to do now is just go ahead and make a backup of your project as is. So head over to Dropbox or wherever you have it stored. Find the project. I have it here. Simply Control-C and then paste it elsewhere. Or if you're using some kind of version control system such as Git, I suggest you go ahead and make a commit now. So once you've done that, simply hit Open Other, then navigate to your folder, find it here, select Folder, hit Upgrade, and it's going to do some calculations now. I'm just going to make sure that my Dropbox syncing is paused, and just tell it that you've made a backup. So just go ahead and update the API, because inside of Unity itself, some API things have changed. So that means that some of the ways that we write code has changed in Unity. And this is mostly to do with the get component stuff. Now you don't have these easy accessors such as transform or such as a rigid body with a small r. Instead you have to do a get component rigid body just to make things more clear. But it's going to go ahead and update that for you. And in a sec, it's going to open up our project here. So this is what it looks like, Unity 5. If you have some text rendering issues which I had when I tried this out before, simply can restart Unity and it should work. But let's just dig right into it. Let's try and hit play. Just maximize on play for now. And see if this works, and indeed it does. We actually have no compiler errors, which is really awesome. That means that we can focus on some of the cool stuff that has come with Unity 5. One thing I want to go ahead and do though is just update the A-Star Pathfinding project. It might prompt you to do this when you open it up. It might have a big green update button. If it doesn't, which it did not in my case, sometimes that for some reason doesn't really happen. All you need to do is delete the folder. We should see an error here, saying that it cannot find the namespace because we've just deleted it. Then go on to the internet and search for A-Star Pathfinding. And whoops, not Wikipedia here. We're going to go to the official website, which is this one. And we're going to go and download it. And we're going to download version 3.6. It's going to download here, open it up in this zip file, navigate through the folder and just double click the Unity package, and it's going to import it inside of Unity. Simply hit import and it's going to do all of the hard stuff for us. So let's just wait for this to correctly import, and it's going to be ready about now. Cool. And again, here an API update is required. So simply say that you made a backup and just go ahead and update it. And it's going to do that. And in just a sec, it's going to be done. There we have it. It removes the errors, and there we go. So now the project here is fully updated and ready to use. And if you don't believe me, you can of course hit play and see that this is indeed working. So that was pretty much everything that we need to do in this video. What I want to just take a moment to show you now is what this has actually changed about our project. First off, it's done some quite a few actually optimizations behind the scene. Stuff like instantiating prefabs is much easier on the computer now, so you can be a lot more free about when you instantiate things. Also, it made a few changes to the API, as I told you, which we are probably going to run into at some point. And a really cool thing it did, this was before a pro feature, but of course this is now in the personal edition, is that when we hit play right now, what it actually does behind the scenes is it takes all of the different sprites here, all of the different sprites that we have in our scene, and it combines them into one large texture, which is called the Sprite Atlas, as we talked about. And what this does, it basically saves us a whole bunch of draw calls. You can see our calls, and they are much fewer than they were before. Actually, I ran a test, and right before upgrading, I had a draw call count of about 34, and now it's actually under 10. And optimizing draw calls will really save out on computer rendering time, especially on mobile devices. So that's a really awesome thing to have for free now. Another cool thing that I want to show you, and I'm really going into the 2D stuff here because the 3D stuff, such as global illumination and the whole new lighting system, physically based rendering and all that, there's been plenty of coverage on that. So I just wanted to keep it really specific for this tutorial. Another thing that is cool that we can now have are image effects. So if we head over to our camera, we can actually add some image effects onto this. So let's right click our project, hit import package and go into effects. And it's just going to start importing here. So we'll wait for that. There's quite a lot of importing and processing going on in this video, but that's okay. And it's going to import all of the different image effects that is created by Unity. But really you can use any third-party effects now. You can find some on the internet and just drag them in. This was of course before a pro feature. And now we can select our camera, hit Add Component, go under Image Effects, and you can see we have all kinds of cool stuff here. First off, you'll notice that if we go under Camera and hit Vignette and Chromatic Aberration, this is an effect I really like on 2D games, we can do a cool camera Vignette. And of course, you can bump this to whatever you want. I want something like 0.6 maybe, just to give it that cool fall off around the edges. I think that looks pretty good. We have some fall off already in our background, but it's nice to have it on the other elements as well. And what you can also do if you want to is you can blur out the corners. You can see if I really exaggerate the effect, what it does. And I just want to do this a tiny bit. We also have the blur distance. And we are not going to mess too much with that. I think 0.75 is actually quite fine. But the amount is going to be bumped down quite a bit here. So let's see what looks nice. I will try. I think even 1 is too much. Let's try 0.3. Yeah, that just gives it a very subtle, cool smoothing effect. Makes it look kind of futuristic, which is of course what we are going for, or at least what I'm going for. And yeah, you can play around with the rest of the image effects. We are definitely going to be using some, or at least I hope. For example, if we are going to implement some shooting. Some cooler shooting effects, like if we're going to have grenades or something, then the bloom effect would be really awesome. And this is in general a really cool effect that you should have a look at. I mean, you can just adjust the threshold here and then make some cool flashing. So that's a really awesome one. Another really cool looking one is the grayscale effect. So if we go under color adjustments, select grayscale, you can just gray out the image. It's that simple. And one that you're probably going to be using a lot is under color adjustments and then color correction curves. And you can see right now it looks really bad, but if we go in here and change all these to the linear prefab or preset, it's going to look just as it did before. There's going to be no change. And then you can change the saturation manually. You can change the red tones and how they fall off. Create some interesting effects here. You can of course edit this just the way you want it to. Just wanted to show you what this looks like. So really have a lot of fun with this. It's super awesome. But for now, I'll just leave the Vignette on there. Of course, if you are rendering, actually I want to bump down the blurring to something like 0.2. If you are planning to publish to a mobile device, I would completely leave effects out of the picture. Or at least not overdo it. Cool. So that was another cool feature. Another thing I just quickly want to mention is that we now have an audio mixer, which you see here. And we can go ahead and create a mixer here later, and where you can mix all of the different audio channels. And that's going to be really handy once we start making music for our game and really mixing all of the different sounds together. I'm just going to close down this tab here and delete it. Delete this folder here. That was something I was messing around with earlier. It's the UPA toolkit, the pixel art toolkit that I've made. I've just tried to implement it here. I think we're going to be using it in a later video. And then at last we have the profiler, and this is actually really, really cool, because what the profiler does is it allows us to have a look at what at basically a breakdown of our application, what takes time on the CPU, the GPU, what uses a lot of storage in memory, is the physics system doing too much? It really breaks down our application and allows us to find just the places in our game that needs our attention when it comes to performance. So if we click here to open up the profiler and just dock it here, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's set to record. Then we are just going to play through a tiny bit of our game. You can maybe just jump around, do some shooting, and then fall down. Wait to respawn. And now let's stop this. We can go through the profiler, and you can see that it made this timeline, and this is actually functioning in real time, but I just wanted to play through and then show you this. But you can, of course, dock it down here and then watch it go as you play through. You can see that it makes this timeline where you can see all of the different parts that make up your game, and the spikes in when they are using a lot of resources. And for each frame, if we focus on, let's say, this frame, you can see what took a lot of time and what required a lot of computer attention, so to say. So what we can do here is we can turn off VSync here. That's the yellow part. That's not really important for us. We can turn off others. We can even turn off rendering, physics, and all of that to only focus on the scripts. And this really allows us to see exactly where, when, and how it spends a lot of time executing the script that we have created. So let's see, we have a spike here. That's in the behavior update. You can see that A star is here spending quite a bit of time. It's actually 12 milliseconds on updating the route that the enemy is taking, and then we are pretty flatlined until we hit another spike here, where we again see A star spending a lot of time. So it's very clear to us here that the thing that is really spending the computer resources script-wise is the A-star pathfinding algorithm, and that of course shouldn't come as a shock. Doing these calculations, path calculations, is pretty taxing, but once you start expanding on your game, it's really easy to narrow down what exactly is slowing your game down using this profiler. So that's something you should really get used to using. So I'm just going to turn back on all of this. And we can see it here. I'm just going to close down the profiler. And that was basically it for this video. All I wanted to talk about was just how to set up Unity, how to update it, or set up Unity 5, how to update to Unity 5, and kind of what it allows us to do. So in the next video, we are definitely going to be scripting some more. We're going to get back into it. But this was just in case you guys hadn't heard about all of this new interesting stuff that is now available to us. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.